All right, hello once again, Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, and I've been going through a series of videos based on Murach's Android Programming, second edition by Joel Murach, and Murach's version of a tip calculator program, which is I'm doing the stuff now in chapters 2, 3, and 4. Now, we just talked about handling the click event, or we put in the code for handling the click event for the up button and the down button, or the plus and minus button. The steps for handling the click event are the same as the steps for handling the editor action event. But since the click event is wired to two different buttons and we wanted to put all the code in the same method, we used a switch statement. All right, and also remember that since we were working with floats, we needed to put the F in there. All right, now I'm gonna actually go off of this for a little bit. And let's see. We're going to try Android Activity Lifecycle here. And I'm going to see if I can find something that's at least similar to the one that is in the textbook. So let's bring that up here. Sorry, I've got a bunch of junk up here. So I apologize for that in advance. Okay. There we go. All right. So what you see here is the life cycle of the activity class. It defines methods that are called by the Android operating system at different points. When the app first starts, Android calls onCreate, onStart, and onResume. The onCreate method is typically used to create the user interface and prepare it for display. In other words, as I mentioned previously, it is similar to a constructor. In the tip calculator activity, this method displays the user interface, it gets the references to the widgets, and it wires the event handlers. After the onResume method executes, the app is in a run state, which is also known as the active state or the resume state. Here the app is visible and has the focus, and it may remain in this state for a long time. If the running activity loses focus, or it becomes partially covered by another activity, or it goes to sleep, then Android calls the onPause method. This causes the activity to go into a pause state where Android attempts to maintain the state of all activities as much as it can for as long as it can, so that if the activity regains focus or the device wakes up, Android can call the onResume method and return back to the running state. If the user gets a phone call or navigates to another activity, then typically Android calls the onPause method followed by onStop. This causes the activity to go into the stop state, where Android again attempts to maintain the state of the activity for as long as possible. But since this has a lower priority than running or pause states, Android often kills activities that are in the stop state. Most lifecycle states have a corresponding method. This diagram shows most of the commonly used lifestyle methods, but not all of them. For instance, in Chapter 8, we'll learn about the lifestyle methods for displaying menus. Now, if I come in here, close this. So if I come in here and I type in Android Activity Lifecycle, what I'm going to find is right near the top is this is the picture from developer.android.com. Not exactly the same as what's in the book, not exactly the same as the one I've shown you, but it's a great place if you want more information. So again, when you create an activity, Android calls the methods of the activity class at different points. Resumed is also known as the active or running state. You can remain there for a long time. Paused is when you lose focus, and you typically Android will try to to keep all of the data as long as possible. Stopped means the activity has lost focus. And again, although Android will try to keep the data as long as it can, there's no guarantee that it will be able to do so. All right, that's a start. So this pushes us to pages 72 and 73. And here they talk about shared preferences. Again, the idea is Android doesn't always save the data of an activity when you change orientation, go from landscape to portrait or vice versa, or when you navigate away from an activity to another activity. So if you want to save data for an activity, you typically override the onPause method. To restore data for an activity, you typically override the onResume method. And you can use the shared preference object and its editor class to save and restore data. So that's what they talk about in here. Now, some of this stuff, the code they show here, I've already put in. We had to import the shared preferences, and when we do this, we should also import the shared preferences dot editor. All right. Now we've come in here and we have defined that shared preferences variable right there. And inside of here, where we're setting up everything else, we're going to come in here and we're going to say get shared preferences object. I don't think I've done that before. I may have, and if I have, I should get rid of this line. But so we're going to say here saved values equal get shared preferences get shared preference says. That's why we had that error, and that should be an equal sign. So you need a way to permanently save values. The shared preferences class provided by the Android API makes this fairly simple to do. First, as we've done, we import the shared preferences class and the editor class. Then we declared a shared preferences object as an instance variable, and we use the onCreate method to create an instance of this object. Once we've done this, we can override the onPause and use the shared preferences object to save values. So what does that mean? That means we've got to come down here, and as we've been doing with our methods, we've got to do another override, and this will be public void onPause. And we will here save the instance variables. So this is the information that we want to keep. So it'll be the bill amount and the tip percent, because those are the things that we have changed while the program has been running. this we'll call the parent. Normally, you call super at the beginning. This is one of the first, if not the first time, I've ever seen this called at the end. We also have to do an override on public void on resume. Now here we do the super first. So in the on pause, we're saving everything. In the on resume, we're bringing it back again. I'm going to put this on another line so you're able to see it all okay. Just about done. I made a mistake here. That's saved values. All right. So again, Android doesn't always save the data of an activity when you change orientation or navigate away. To do this, that's why we did an override on the on pause method. Then when that saved it for us to the shared preferences object. Then to bring it back, we had to grab it from the shared preferences object, and from which we used the editor class to save, and then we restored it. Okay? So what's left is on pages 75, 77, 79, and 81. Well, 70, 75, 77, and 79 is the rest of the program. So I want to check and see if I've missed anything. All right. So we've got the package statement. You know that. And after that, we've got our import statements. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 import statements, including the Java one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. They've got 13. I'm trying to make sure I'm not missing anything. View, listener. I think I've got everything as far as I can tell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So I think I've got all of those. All right. Tip calculator class inherits the activity class, or in our case, the app compact activity. In addition, we must implement the on editor action listener and the on click listener. We've done that. All right. Then we come in and we create our variables. Now it says here there's 6 variables. Am I missing one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Edit text for the bill amount text. Text view. I don't have the text for the percent. Text view. Private text view percent text view. All right. And we've got the tip text view and the total text view, the percent up button and the percent down button. Now this is the way the author did it. All right, then we've got our shared preferences object. Then we've got our instance variable for the bill amount string and the tip percent. That's done. All right. The onCreate method begins by calling the onCreate of the superclass. We know this. We need the references to those variables also. We've only got 3 of them, so you can see this is incomplete the way it currently exists. All right. So the bill amount text, I also need, so I'm going to need my buttons. Get bill amount, edit text, tip text view, and total text view. But we also need here percent text view equals text view this find view my ID, and that will be percent text view. Next, we need our 2 buttons. Wow. And there's our down button. All right. We have to next set all of the listeners, which of course, again, has not totally been done. We've got the listener here. I guess they did that before they did the shared preferences object. Again, I'm trying to put it this way to be complete with the way they've done it in the book. So we've got bill amount. Now we want to say set listeners. We've got the bill amount. We also need our 2 buttons. So there's the one for our first button. There's the one for the other button. All right, we've got our shared preferences, which is right here. Then, as already shown, again, mine isn't in the same order as the books, but we've got the on pause, which is going to save the activities instance variables, the bill amount string, and the tip percent, which need to be saved for the app to work correctly if we either change orientation or we navigate away from and back to the activity. Then we've got the on resume, which restores both of the instance variables that we just hit reset. We've got the calculate and display routine, and that routine calculates the tip and the total amounts for the bill and displays the current data on the user interface. First, it gets the bill amount from the edit text widget and converts this string to a float value. Then it calculates the tip and total amounts and stores them as float values. Finally, it formats them, all right, the way that we want them formatted, in other words, with dollar signs. The on editor action is executed when the user presses an action key on a soft keyboard, such as the done key. It begins by using an if statement to check whether the action key is the done key. If so, it calls calculate and displays the results. The onClick method is executed whenever the user clicks on either of the buttons. All right, we've got the switch statement in here, which says if we click the down button to go down by a percentage, the up button to go up by a percentage. Hopefully that is everything that we need in here. So let's do a file, save all, and let's try to run it and see what happens. All right, so if we now do this, and let's try to put in a number that makes it kind of easy to see what's going on. So we'll use $100. And there it is at 15%, and it looks correct. Now that does not appear to be working. So we'll have to take a look at the buttons here. Might be there. Let's see. There we go. Nope. So the percentages do not appear, or the up and down keys do not appear to be working. So I'll have to take a look at that. And I'm going to do that. And then when I come back, I'm going to cover pages 80 through 89 in the chapter, which is more skills for finishing the app, where we will work with the Gradle build script, work with dependencies, work with the Android manifest, and set a launcher icon for this. So I'll come back to do that in just a couple moments, and hopefully that'll be the last one for this chapter, but we'll see.